Hey guys, how's it going out there today? I truly appreciate you dropping by the channel and checking out my content. Thank you very much. I love it when guys drop around and have a look at what's going on at the Tokyo Bar 23 Sneaker channel. If you're new, first timers, thank you very much. And if you've done this many times before, thank you very much. It's always great to have new people at the channel and everybody coming back as well. And today what we're doing is a very difficult video for me because I do want to make it, but it's you've clicked on this, so you already know the title is I really want to like the Nike Air Jordan 5 top 3 but and you know the butt just sort of hangs there, and what I thought when I was making this video and getting it ready and prepping it and all that stuff was this is personal. Right? This is personal. This is my personal opinion. So if you really like these shoes and you're like, yes, this is one of the coolest shoes of the year, that's okay. Because this is my personal opinion. This isn't like a considered, like sneakerhead authority opinion. This is just a personal way of looking at things. And it's totally about my personal opinion. It's not about, what works and what doesn't work in sneakers on a sort of worldwide level. So, if you've bought these guys, or if you're going to buy these guys, or if you're interested in these guys, just because I give you an opposite opinion, don't change your own opinion or feel differently about how you feel about these shoes. Just because I don't get them doesn't necessarily mean that you have to feel any differently about actually getting them. So without further ado, what we're going to do is get into this video today. We're going to have a look at the shoe, where it came from, what the 3 different parts are, the main features on the shoe, and talk about what it is about me that makes me not really get it. So without further ado, the Nike Air Jordan 5 top 3. This is the Tokyo Bar 23 Sneaker channel, Tokyo Bar 23 Sneaker channel des.毎日 up soon no day, 毎日見てください. Every single day from Tokyo, Japan, I bring you content about upcoming sneaker releases, sneaker news, and sneaker reviews. And today, it's what I said in the earlier part of this video. It's all about really wanting to like this shoe and then just not being able to. And I've got to start with my own personal, feelings on things. Here's my personal 5 favorite. I think the Dornbecker 5s are an absolutely iconic shoe. They've come off a lot in resale price in the last couple of years. They were way up into the 4 figures, really high in the resale markets, and now I think they might even be less than 1,000, which is very low for this shoe. And maybe somewhere around the corner I'll get my hands on a pair of Dornbecker 5s. They're an absolute grail for me. I consider the 3, 4 and 5 Jordans to be a classic 3 set of Jordans. In my mind, they're all mixed in together. So great shoe, great silhouette, everything about the silhouette screams yes to me. So if you're going to put the top 3 into one on one shoe, it should work and it should tick all the boxes for me. But it doesn't tick one box. It ticks a lot of boxes, but it doesn't tick one box. And unfortunately, that box is kind of holding me back. And we'll get into that first, and then we'll get into the rest of the video about the shoes. So really what it is that I struggle personally with the shoes that don't make sense. I really like shoes. I talk about this a lot at my channel. I really like shoes to have a narrative that you can actually sort of see the thread of the shoe. Now, one of the 3 top 3s on the Jordan 5 top 3s is the Fire Red. Beautiful shoe, retroed many times and very recently as well. And it's a beautiful, one of the classic sort of silhouettes on this. What it is not is a Jordan 3 Fire Reds. I own a pair of these Jordan 3 Fire Reds, and one of the reasons why I dipped into my pocket and bought this pair of shoes, and I don't buy shoes of them because I'm not a rich man, so when I do buy them, it's a very thought out process. There isn't a thing on there I don't like. Not a thing. In fact, there was a Chicago variant where the air on the back was changed out to CHI, which I wouldn't have bought. That one detail would have been enough to turn me off. But the Jordan 3 Fire Red's a perfect shoe in my mind. There's not a thing on them that I don't love, absolutely love. And it has the narrative. The whole shoe makes sense. All the different bits of the shoe connect together into the whole. And what an example of that would be these Air Max 95s here. These are the Air Max 95 eras. And when I looked at those first off, I was like, yeah, that's a great shoe. But then when I got closer in, it's like, there's an awful lot of details on there that I just don't, they don't jive. They don't work together well. So coming forward to this Jordan 5 top 3, that's my problem. My problem. It's not, I'm really being careful not to say the problem with this shoe, because it's not the shoe's problem. It's my problem with looking at the shoe. I like shoes to make sense. I like the story of a shoe when you look at it, when you look at the toe box, the swoosh, the outsole, the midsole, the tongue, the branding, all of that kind of stuff, insoles, everything. I like it to make sense, and I'm very critical when a bit of a shoe doesn't make sense, or you can't work out why they decided to go with that particular color or material, whatever, on a shoe. And that's what's the problem with these guys. And it's not all three of the shoes. We already talked about the fire reds. The other ones in there are the metallic silvers. And if I'm not mistaken, that's one of my good friends, Ed, over at the Son of Some Man channel. One of his favorite shoes. In fact, it might be his favorite shoe of all time, the metallic silvers. And that's a beautiful shoe. And then it goes really well with those fire reds if that was just a pair that went well. But it's the third shoe that just doesn't do it for me, the grapes. And there's the grapes behind me here. And I thought hard about whether or not I put the grapes up or the fresh princes up. And the fresh princes were kind of hammered because originally Will Smith wore the grape fives on the show, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, regular ones, but he wore them without laces. So then when they retroed them, I think it was last year they retroed them, even though this year is the 30th anniversary of the fives. Even though it's the fives turn this year, I think they retroed them last year, but I might be wrong on that. It might have been earlier in this year. But they took out the lace holes, where you'd lace the shoes up, and actually filled them in. And people all over the place were like punching through those holes in random ways and destroying the shoes. And it was a bad move in terms of design by actually forcing people to wear them laceless. I think the point was that you could wear them with laces and you chose not to. You weren't just being forced not to. So those were the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air grapes, which dropped recently. But what I've got up behind me here is the OG guys with the laces in place, and that's the shoe that doesn't fit in these top three for me, and mainly that's focused up on the tongue. So if we zoom in on the tongue on these top threes, you can see that purple in there, and that's really the main point. It really boils down to the colour of the tongue, or we'll get to another point in a minute, but the colour of the tongue on a black and a red and a white, predominantly those three colour sneakers, effectively it's a bread sneaker, and then you throw on some purple and it just doesn't jive for me. It doesn't fit at all, and I don't know what they could have done any differently. Instead of going with that red on the outsole or the midsole, and then the grey speckles on the shark's teeth coming up, maybe they could have switched that out for the grapes, put a grape midsole on or something like that. But I don't know. I just don't think there's any way to cram those grapes into the metallic silvers and the fire reds. And that's even true on the outsole. That's the other place that we want to look at and see that grape influence on there. And you can see that Jumpman on there really does jump off of there. Well, no pun intended. But it just doesn't jive with the sort of narrative of the shoe. And that's about me. That's about me liking things to be orderly. That's about me liking things to be all in the proper place. It is correct that you put red and black and white and grey on a shoe. It's not correct that you add purple to that. That's me. Like I say, it's not about the shoe. There's nothing wrong with the shoe. It's my interpretation of the shoe and what I like in my shoes, and I just can't get over it. It doesn't make sense from the lateral side, which we'll look at here. One of the nice little features on these guys, as you look down at the heel, there's that red 23 on there, which is it reminds me a little bit of the Tokyo 5s, and they have a really interesting design on the 23 on the side there. But that's a yellow sneaker. That's nothing to do with these guys. But anyway, that red 23 on the side, and then it's not too far to go around the back of these guys. One of the things that was talked about my first ever Jordan sneakers, the Bred 4s, and particularly the 2019 Bred 4s, was the Nike Air on the back instead of the Jumpman, and that's what we see again on these top threes, as you've got in white on a black heel, Nike Air on there. Glad to see that, happy that that's the kind of branding on the back of these guys. So a lot of this is either really true to those three sneakers, or a couple of little innovations thrown in there to add a little extra to it. So it's almost there. It really is almost there. Even on the back of the tongue, you can look there and you'll see the three different colorways that inspire this top three: the grape, the metallic silver, and the fire reds on there. And it's a great touch. I love it. A little hidden detailing on the back of the tongue, giving people that story and that narrative of the sneaker. But I just can't make my eyes like purple on a Bred sneaker. It just doesn't work. It's just sometimes you don't like things. Some people like mushrooms. I can't stand mushrooms. I've tried to eat them in many different ways. Mashed up in food, hidden in food, fried, barbecued, grilled, whatever. I just can't stand mushrooms. And there's nothing I can do about it. I've tried and I just don't like them. And maybe that's it. Some things you just don't like. And I don't like purple colour, like blocking on a bread sneaker, and that's what I see here, and I just can't get past that. So and that's about me. I'd love to hear about you guys out there, what you think of these guys, if there's enough, maybe those top threes you already have in your collection and you're happy to pull them all together in one big sneaker like this. You know, maybe you think these guys are going to sell really well. Maybe there's some detail on there that I've not noticed or I don't know about that really elevates these guys in some way. Maybe the tongues are removable and you can put in a silver tongue on there, for example, and that would really make these guys pop. But for me, that tongue in purple and then the Jumpman on the outsole doesn't jive with the rest of the shoe. It isn't my thing. I would like to like these, but... And that's where I stand on it. That's just me. I mean, you'll have your own opinions out there. Love to hear them in the comments down below. And that's, I always say this at my channel, that I think it's important that we share opinions. And you don't need to share an opinion in a way that sort of enforces the other person to sort of take that opinion. I'm not trying to convince you to agree with me. I'm just saying this is my perspective. And if you have a difference of perspective, a difference of opinion, that's fine. We can survive having those differences of opinion. You don't have to force someone to bend to your will and believe what you think. And I very much believe that on my channel. I very much believe that in my life. So for me, this is my perspective, my opinion on this shoe. Maybe you have a different one out there, and feel free to mash it up with me in the comments down below. I truly appreciate that. And it doesn't, you know, offend me, for example, if people have a difference of opinion, as long as it's, you know, stated in a way that's a discussion and not just an insult. So, but that's enough for me today. It's kind of slightly early. It's almost 11 o'clock at night here, and this is tomorrow's video, which will drop at 7 p.m. tomorrow. So I'm a few hours earlier than usual right now, so I'm going to scuttle off and get this video all tucked away, ready for you guys to watch tomorrow. But thanks very much for dropping by. Truly appreciate it. As we say, we're up into the, you know, almost 550 consecutive days without missing a beat, and we're just trying to hang in there and do this daily content. So as I do this every single day, I'll sign off my video in the same way that I do it every single time, which is to say that you are guaranteed to see me tomorrow.